In the last episode of the $100 Moth series, the rudder broke straight off the back of the boat doing about 21 knots, like 12 seconds after launching. In this episode, we'll try and figure out if it's possible to fix. So I thought the first thing to do was to see what actually broke. As you can see here, the strut that was going into that sort of rear corner of the gantry is no longer there, and that was still connected to the boat. So I think that broke first, and then that's ripped the top two corners out of the gantry, which has then sort of can opened the deck as it came off. So I was sort of tossing up, do I even try and fix this, or is it too far gone for kind of my abilities? In the end, I thought I'll have a go, because this boat sort of doesn't deserve to die like this. It's already lasted 19 years and it deserves to last a little bit longer. So it was worth a shot at fixing, and I thought I'll give it my best attempt. So my plan was to use the old deck as kind of the mould for the new deck, so that I could keep that nice constant curve that's in the cockpit floor all the way to the back and not have some weird straight bit that kind of looks funny. This was the first time I'd ever actually done any boat building with foam, and it was a little bit daunting, to be honest, because I just didn't know how the material was going to behave and what you can get away with. I'd seen online that you can bend it with a heat gun, so I thought I'll try that, which did kind of work, but then I really struggled to get a good lamination with the carbon fibre, because I had kind of nothing to push against as I was laminating, and I ended up with kind of a heap of air bubbles, as you can see. So I ended up throwing out that piece and having another go just flat on the bench, and then I figure I'll just squish it into shape with a lot of heavy things once I've actually got the inner skin laminated, and then as it cures it'll be held in the right shape anyway, and that seemed to work quite well. So this is my stack of heavy things that basically pressed it into shape while the epoxy dried on the other side. I ended up having to hang the lawnmower off the bow to stop the boat backflipping, but it did do the job, and I'm pretty happy with how it came up.
Gentle breeze, big sunshine, a new life in the way I need.
I then needed to remove all the broken bits and get back to some good material that I could actually work with. So I got out my $39 multi-tool from Bunnings and just basically started cutting until I got to a good bit of boat again. This bit here was a little bit unusual. I was just cutting along and then suddenly water started pouring out of the hull skin. I think it's from where this fairing kind of has a void in it in the styrofoam, so I'll patch that up when I close the boat back up. But yeah, mystery water was a bit strange. So this is where I started to get a bit luckier. I was able to salvage the existing stringers that go along the inside of the hull that are made of foam. So that gave me something to glue to without having to sort of mess around making 3D printed molds and stuff. And the rear bulkhead that sort of connects to the transom was also still intact. So that was a massive win, saved me a heap of time. As you can see on the starboard side here, the hull's actually made of Nomex, not foam. So yeah, that's kind of rare, and that's like Formula 1 technology, which is why I really like this boat and wanted to save it, because there's not a whole lot of Nomex moths around. I then decided to use some actual like epoxy adhesive stuff, which was really good, to be honest, on some foam, and that made like a surface or a flange at the front that I was able to glue the new rear deck on. I think it's been about 2 days since I glued on that flange to glue the deck onto, so I'm going to have a go at gluing the deck on tonight. Basically I just want to get it all sealed up, and then I reckon once I've got that piece in, it'll be relatively easy to kind of trim in situ and then keep going to the next step of adding reinforcing and stuff. So yeah, it's the state titles this weekend, which I'm not going to make because I don't have a gantry and it's going to need to be sort of fabricated to suit this boat. I did have a Bladerider carbon one over here that I've sort of found kicking around in the shed, but it's just not even close. So It seems like the current thinking is we'll try and find an aluminium one and get that modified by a friend of my dad's, and he'll be able to make it fit this boat exactly, and off we go. But it is a bit annoying that this is the second state titles I've missed in a row. The last one was 2 years ago. We didn't have one last year. I was sailing to the start last time on my first red boat from this channel, and put the windward wing in, and then the wing just broke off. And then this time on another red boat, we're missing the back end of the boat. So I don't know how long it's going to be till I get to line up with everyone again. So it's Thursday night now. As you can see, we've gained another boat. So this one belongs to my friend who got it essentially for free. Basically, it sort of did work like 6 or 7 years ago. It's actually a decent boat. This is the one I fixed the bowsprit for a couple of episodes ago. But the rest of it still hasn't been done. So he's never sailed a Moth before, so it's a bit of an ask for him to try and figure it out. It's sort of not really like a Bladerider anymore compared to what was in those original rigging guides. These were the Bladeriders after the X8, which was the one that sort of everyone had. So there were 3 models. There was the FX, which was the fiberglass one that was sort of intended to do what the Wasp did, but sort of didn't. Then the RX was this one, which is like the club racing version. So it was still carbon, but it had like straight wing bars instead of curved ones. And then there was a VRX one, which was like the elite racing one that was had the fancy wings and everything. But I think just after they built these, Bladerider sort of shut down. Yeah, so we'll just have to work through it and see what we've ended up with and what needs to happen to finish it off. So a bit of a tricky thing to figure out where to start on this. Sort of don't have all the bits exactly, but I think I'm just going to work on the trampolines and the control system as a good starting point. I've already found that it's missing the bolts that hold the wings into the boat. They go here and here, and they're not there. So I think I've got that tub of stainless bolts. I'm pretty sure I'll try like a actual metric thread first. If that doesn't work, I could try self-tappers. I'll just see what I can find. I ended up having some issues getting these screws to go in. There was kind of nothing for them to go into. Obviously the whole thing's held on by that major bolt that goes through from one side to the other, but I thought just in case, to try and eliminate any slop I can possibly get rid of, I'll just put a couple of small self-tappers in the top and the bottom on the sides into kind of fresh material, and then by the time I nipped up that bolt that holds the whole thing on, it was stiff as. The next day my brother came around to help, and as you can see, I had to use some 5-minute epoxy. I decided to invest in the actual Trojan stuff, which works out like 600% cheaper than Araldite. And then we injected that into this gap where it hadn't quite sealed onto that flange. And then I wanted to use a ratchet strap, and my brother had the idea to put this roll of plastic in there so it actually pushed down on the part that needed to be secured, and it worked really well. We then swapped back to the Bladerider project. As you can see, my brother's sliding in the bladder into the tramps there that provides flotation and stability. Those are actually a Wahoo pool toy from like Big W or Kmart. That idea came from Bugs at Avalon Sail Co in Western Australia, but it's an easy way to get bladders sort of readily from a department store. I then had to rig up the adjustable wand control system. So this boat with the Bugs cam is like super simple in that it doesn't have an adjustable ride height like with a rope. It's just a dial that you can adjust manually. But it does have like a continuous wand control line, which goes all the way around the boat in like a circle. And if you pull it one way, the wand gets shorter, the boat goes down. Pull it the other way, wand gets longer, boat goes up. Saturday lunchtime. It's hot as, like 35 degrees. I'm going to take off the ratchet strap we had holding this down while the glue cured, and then whack a coat of carbon on that so it can cure in the heat this afternoon. So we're making good progress on this boat and the Bladerider, so I'll just keep chipping away and we'll get through them.
Counting the days until summer, feeling the warm rays upon my face. Leave all my worries in a gentle breeze. Big sunshine and new life in the way I need. Counting the days until summer, feeling the warm rays upon my face. Leave all my worries.
So one of my friends told me I needed to buy one of these little metal rollers for rolling out carbon and fiberglass and stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm sure it's good, but since I was ordering stuff from Trojan anyway, I thought I'll get one. Anyway, it is like the single best thing I've ever bought. Like, he should get an award for services to yachting for telling me this, because it's changed like how well my carbon lays up. It's just the best thing ever. Like, I'm so happy with how this job came up because of this little roller.
A gentle breeze, big sunshine and new life in the way I
Okay, so it's Sunday morning now, been about 24 hours since I laminated this back deck. Gonna peel off the peel ply and then trim it up so I can laminate the edges to basically secure the new piece onto the actual hull. At the moment it's just glued on, but I want that to be laminated. I've been thinking I better not try and vacuum bag it, because I just can't see how I won't have pinholes along that seam that suck air out of the boat, which will make it really hard to get a good vacuum. So I'm just going to try that roller that I was using yesterday, which was amazing, and yeah, give that another go. Basically same technique, but with yeah, around the corner. So we'll see how it goes. It's not hot at all today. It's been raining all morning, and it's cold, so that's Melbourne for you. So yeah, let's get into it. Our state titles ended up getting postponed because it wasn't a breath of wind yesterday, and there's a gale warning today. So I get another chance to race in, I don't know, a month or two when we find a new venue. So yeah, lucky.
I had a dream once, I kept it close. It seemed so important to have it all then. I used to believe that I needed to be someone, to actually be someone. Everyone else seemed to get it right, but now I'm the cool kid, all weird, not chasing superficial things, that's clear. Ooh, I've got cool friends, ditch trends, they always see through them. That's why I am rich, though I got no money, no, no, no. I am rich. Isn't it funny, though? Looking back, all I see is signs. I'll never needed what they expected of me. All I ever needed was me to believe in my God.
Okay, so it's Sunday afternoon now. I'm going to finally get into the Bladerider project now that it stopped raining. It's crazy, this time yesterday it was 35 and I was like dying in the heat. Now it's 14 and it's freezing, so yeah, we'll keep rigging up, and see what else we come across that I need to fix on this boat. So this rope I'm making is basically just like a wing wire that joins the two rear corners of the wings and makes them way stronger, because then it's like a triangle. Because it's got to be quite strong, I used a relatively thick Dyneema with low friction rings in each end, and then I used like a covered Dyneema where it lashes around the wings, since the wings get kind of bashed up on the beach and stuff, and you got to be a bit careful of chafe where they're like constantly rubbing on the sand and stuff when you're putting the foils in when you're tipped over.
Telling me I don't want that life, or all the things you're supposed to like. But now...
So this one I'm making here is basically just the elastic that pulls the wand down to the surface of the water, and the tension of the elastic is sort of how aggressively the boat bounces on each wave. So if you have really tight elastic, it like really aggressively follows the surface because it gets kind of every single input from the wand. Whereas if you have it kind of loose, it's kind of softer and a bit floatier. I just thought it'd be a bit nicer if I splice it and put a proper control system on it so that it's easier to tension from the boat. So I attached a little clam cleat on like an angled packer just to the thick part of the trampoline cloth where it's been reinforced, and that seems to do the job, I think. Another thing I've kind of got in the habit of doing is making an easy way to secure the wand in like the raised position. So it just had this little bit of string there you had to tie on manually, but I decided to make this kind of soft shackle with Dyneema and shock cord so that you can like really easily secure the wand when you get back to the shore so that it's raised, and then if like someone walks past or whatever, they're less likely to break it if they bump into it. So just a massive thanks to everyone that continues to support the channel on Patreon, as well as the people that continue to leave comments. I love reading them, and send me messages on Instagram at Tom Stutchbury Sailing, and like the videos and support the channel in whatever way you do. It's really appreciated. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon with another video, probably trying to get this rudder reattached on the back of the Moth.
I'm the cool kid, all weird, not chasing superficial things, that's clear.